kids. Welcome to Grow with Miss Nancy. I am so glad you're here today. Have you noticed it snowed? I know that doesn't happen very often in eastern North Carolina, but sometimes it does. And you know, angels don't happen very often either, but when it related to Jesus coming, there was a lot going on, especially with Gabriel, the messenger angel. So we're going to talk about that today. And I hope that you are really excited about this month because we're talking about angels all month. This story is about a man by the name of Zechariah and his wife Elizabeth. They were older people and he was a priest way back before Jesus was born. And it turns out that his plan was that he was a priest who would show up at the temple for 1 week, twice a year. And during that time, he performed priestly duties with a whole bunch of other priests. This one particular time, he was lucky enough to be able to be drawn to be the one priest who was allowed to go behind the veil, which was a big, heavy curtain that separated all of the sanctuary from what they called the Holy of Holies. That's where God was. And that's where the Ark of the Covenant was. And it was his job to go back there, and no one was allowed unless they were the one particular priest who could do this only once in a lifetime. And he was going to light the incense that was going to burn through the day and smell really good as part of prayers going up to God. So he goes behind the veil to light that incense, and all of a sudden, there is this big angel there. Zechariah is scared because an angel is big and surprising, and you just would not expect that. So the angel, and his name was Gabriel, said to Zechariah, God has heard your prayers, the prayers of you and Elizabeth, and we know that you have not been able to have any children, but you are going to have a son, and that son is going to be a holy person. The Holy Spirit will be with him from even the time he is in the womb of Elizabeth until he is even a grown man. And he will bless his people, God's people, the people of Israel, and he will make a way for the Lord to come. Zechariah didn't believe him. And because he did not believe him, the angel Gabriel said, since you don't believe me, you're going to be mute. You're not going to be able to talk until this baby is born. Now, the reason that Zechariah didn't believe him was because he was old and Elizabeth was old. And he thought, how could we have a child at this age? Well, when he walked out of behind the Holy of Holies, behind that veil, he couldn't speak at all. He could not speak until that baby was born. Now, Gabriel had told him to name this baby John. And when that baby was born, he was able to speak, Zechariah was, and say, we're going to name this baby John. And guess who he turned out to be? He grew up to be John the Baptist, who did make the way for Jesus to come. You know, our big idea is Jesus is God's plan. And God started early with Zechariah and Elizabeth and John the Baptist. But Gabriel was the messenger angel who told Zechariah what was to come. Isn't that great? God looks out for us in all kinds of ways, doesn't he? And he has a plan for you too. Well, I'll see you next week and we'll talk about what else was happened with angels around Jesus' birth. Bye-bye.